Spider-Man Far From Home has officially hit theaters and continues to tell the story that unfolded in Avengers Endgame. We have seen the final film of Marvel's Phase 3 and would now like to talk about the post-credit sequences. But at this point, I'd like to issue a spoiler warning, as we will discuss the end of the film in great detail.
Because there's some serious spoilers about to come up.
The mid-credits scene. For the very first time in her life, MJ swings alongside Spider-Man through the city of New York. Yet she doesn't seem to be too impressed by that, as she tells Peter before parting ways. All of a sudden, we see video footage on a big screen that completely ruins the moment. A news show hosted by none other than J. Jonah Jameson, yes, he's once again portrayed by J.K. Simmons, completely changes the narrative of the actual events of the film, as it presents Mysterio as the victim who's threatened by Spider-Man. Jameson accuses Spider-Man of attempting to not only kill Mysterio, but to take down the entire city with drones as well. We, the audience, of course know the truth. Mysterio was responsible for the destructive mayhem and tried to kill Spider-Man. But the video was that well doctored that the viewers and perhaps even MJ fell for Mysterio's deception.
What just happened?
But on to the biggest twist. Mysterio uncovers Spidey's true identity and reveals his name and a picture of him to the entire world, which in and of itself is a nod to Iron Man, who revealed his true identity at the end of his very first feature film.
I am Iron Man.
Although Peter does not do that voluntarily. This revelation could be interesting for future films to come. How will Peter deal with the fact that everyone now knows who he really is? After all, he even mentioned earlier in the film that he does not want to be associated with Spider-Man. We have an idea how S.H.I.E.L.D. could help him with this new problem. But before we talk about the solution, let's talk about the post-credits scene.
There's gotta be something in here I can use.
The post-credits scene. The post-credits scene sheds a new light on both Maria Hill and Nick Fury. In the scene in question, the two are seen in a car, when all of a sudden they transform into the Skrulls Talos and his wife Soren. These characters are no newcomers to the MCU, as they made their debut in Captain Marvel, which depicted them as intergalactic refugees. This sequence reveals that the film never featured the real S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and offers an explanation as to why Fury acted so odd throughout the entirety of the film. For example, he puts his full trust into Mysterio's story, while the real Nick Fury would have seen through this scheme halfway through the movie. Maybe we should start to assume that this scene marks the beginning of the so-called secret invasion, the covert Skrull takeover of Earth. In the comic books, some of the more sinister Skrulls even infiltrate S.H.I.E.L.D. But our two Skrulls at hand do not seem to have bad intentions. They simply act as holiday replacement for the real S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. But where are Fury and Hill?
Pretty extremely far.
Talos calls the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. from his car, who then answers the call from a beach-like holodeck. Talos tells Nick that he must return, as numerous people have questions regarding the Avengers and their whereabouts. He also informs him of the events that unfolded in the film, which is why Fury intends to return alongside other assembled agents. The S.H.I.E.L.D. director and his team seem to be on board of a spaceship, or more fittingly, a Skrull ship. This group is obviously part of a space mission that is not fully disclosed to the audience. We are certain, though, that this mission is gonna be explored in future films.
I gotta say, you tracking me without my permission is a complete violation of my privacy.
But what is the meaning behind these post-credit sequences with regard to the future of the MCU and Spider-Man in particular? Well, since the Skrulls return in the post-credit scene, these aliens will probably continue to play a key role in the future of the franchise. Similar to Captain Marvel, who was recently introduced to this universe and established as a hero to be reckoned with. First, let's return to the mid-credit scene for a second. In it, Peter's worst fears become reality. The world now knows his secret, which can lead to more problems in the future.
No, seriously?
This inconvenience might be dealt with quite easily, though, with the help of S.H.I.E.L.D. As the post-credit scene proves, the Skrulls work closely together with this organization, as they are given permission to imitate both Hill and Fury. With this piece of information in mind, the Skrulls could simply transform into Spider-Man, right? Thus, Peter and Spider-Man could appear together in the same room and therefore put an end to Mysterio's scheme. But this solution would require S.H.I.E.L.D's willingness to protect Peter's reputation. And since they sent two Skrulls to Earth in order to assist Peter, this may very well be the case.
We have a job to do. You're coming with us.
Whether or not Peter's reputation is saved at the very beginning of Phase 4 or not, Marvel also needs a new big bad after Thanos, and Mysterio could be such a villain. Unfortunately though, he died at the end of Far From Home. Or did he? After all, the character has an infamous and long comic book history of faking his own death. At first glance, this seems very unlikely. After all, Spidey asks his AI Edith if the events that unfolded actually happened, and she confirms them, including Mysterio's death. But there might be another possibility.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Mysterio is the undisputed master of illusion and possesses amazing technological abilities. He even used to work for Tony Stark and developed the infamous barf technology. The news footage in the mid-credits scene depicts Mysterio in a battle. But when did he have the time to shoot this clip? After all, he was busy producing illusions for Spider-Man in order to fight him. Which is why it is in fact possible that he had a plan B in mind when it comes to battling Spidey and seeking revenge upon Tony Stark. Maybe he even shot the videos earlier as a failsafe in order to ensure the downfall of Spider-Man in the case of an untimely death.
You don't want any part of this.
So despite his egomaniacal nature, he didn't dismiss the idea of dying. But what if he took another precaution and found a way to transmit himself onto the Edith system? This is how he could survive in a manner of speaking and return as a projection in order to take the place of the fallen Spider-Man for himself. It wouldn't be the first time that an artificial intelligence posed a threat to our heroes. Age of Ultron introduced a villain who constantly uploaded himself from body to body. Another possibility would be him having manipulated the program in a manner that would deny Peter the answers he needed. Thus, Edith might have lied to Parker and no longer functions as a reliable source of information. With all this in mind, there are several possibilities for Mysterio to return.
Testosterone.
Should this be the case, he won't have to be the only villain to go up against Spidey in the future. He could join the Sinister Six, a group from the comic books that was founded by Dr. Octopus and includes a total of 6 Spidey villains: Electro, Kraven the Hunter, the Sandman, the Vulture, Doc Ock himself, and yes, Mysterio. In the comic books, Doc Ock is convinced not to be able to assemble this group for a long period of time, which is why he decides that the villains should individually attack Spidey, one at a time. This foolish strategy of course results in Spidey's victory. Whether or not Marvel will follow this formula and give us their very own Scott Pilgrim vs. the World-ish film remains to be seen.
You're welcome.
What did you think of Spider-Man Far From Home? Do you believe in the return of both the Skrulls and Mysterio? Let us know in the comment section below. And for more original content, check out these videos.